following program is a presentation of the Weekly Credit Report.
Exactly. So not only do you have this negative original debt that's on your report, Macy's, and it's negatively impacting your credit because it's a charge-off, things like that, but now you got 2-3 different collection companies could be on your credit report, right? So when this debt goes back into Macy's hands, it's similar. But Ryan, talk about now what's the next step about third-party collections, and now it just goes back into another company. Same thing. I mean, Jared, excuse me.
Well, what happens there, let's say it gets to a point where it's been passed around a few times between the third parties. It goes back to Macy's. Now, at this point, Macy's is going to make a decision. They could charge off and write off the debt and sell it to a wholesale collection company.
Yeah. Well, what I mean is real quick, I just wanted to go through the detail of the third party, understanding that, and I know I didn't explain that really well. It goes to a third party again. I mean, it literally happens again. So I don't want to dilute that specific part. I mean, that it literally will be like, okay, well, you got to realize, even though $5,000 is a lot to me, it's a lot to you guys, it's a lot to a listener. I get it. But when you're dealing with $1 million corporations, you are just a number. You're just an account. It's just a piece of the pie. So to them, it's not like me owing you $5,000 and you're calling me every other day. Hey, you got my money? You got my money? I mean, it's just a process. It really is. It's just they get the information, they're on to the next one, they send it to another collection company. And this goes for judgments. I mean, this stuff can turn into, I mean, and that's the question is, when it's a third party in the contract that they have different layers, different steps of saying, hey, our first step is just letters and calls, just friendly calls. Hey, by the way, you probably didn't know, but this is in collection. You might, and then the next step is a little more aggressive. It's, hey, by the way, I know you've received our letters. I know this. Third step, it gets to a point where it's like, hey, Macy's, we have, do you want us to then send this to an attorney that is local within the area of this person? And do you want us to, push litigation on? Do you want us to take the next step for you and help you really put a judgment on these people? And Macy's will make that decision. Yes or no. They might say no, because that's extra money for us, and let's move it on to a different third-party company. Let's see if we can pass it around a few times.
Yep.
Maybe this person's situation's hard up on luck. They don't think this detail, but it gets to a point where they don't want to, push, the $400, $500 judgment too soon. They'd rather throw it to another free third-party company for a while and see what can happen,
Exactly.
But going into that and talking about that third party and really understanding that, even though what's unfortunate is that even though they only own it for 3 to 4 months, if they report to the bureaus, it's going to be on your credit and it won't move. Trust me, I've seen literally
multiple collections for thousands. The same original debt.
Of people over my time here and going through people's reports and noticing just stagnant old collections on your credit report, and you don't know any better because you never look at your credit in the first place because you're nervous about it. So going through that, understand that all this stuff that's happening, that's probably the biggest piece of the explanation here, is that all the information and all the stuff that's happening back and forth doesn't get reported to the bureaus. It doesn't get updated, I should say. I mean, the original debtor or the third party, when they get the debt, they'll report. All this stuff happens, all this activity, they go and give it back to Macy's. When they give it back, they don't tell the bureaus any different. So over time, you're getting things added to your credit that are negatively impacting. Now, at the time, you might have owned that debt, but right now or later, you don't owe that debt technically. You don't owe that specific company that given information. And that's the problem. That's an issue, is that people, if they don't know the details behind of, what's happening, you're just going by what's on my report must be accurate. What's on here must be true, and it's not. And that's where we come in, United Credit Consultants, and, our process here of investigation and challenging the validity of information. And that's how we're at an 82% level, is these items aren't accurate, and these companies don't have your information, and these companies can't verify it, not because they don't want to. It's because they don't own your debt anymore. They don't have your file because of all the stuff that's going on in the background, because really they don't give two about your credit and your credit report. They care about making money.
Yep.
It's that simple understanding of that. So
they report to the bureau specifically because they know it hurts you, and it's going to motivate you to move forward and take care of that debt.
100%. It's going to put it's an investment on their end to see if they can motivate you and scare you into getting you to make payments.
Yep.
And if it didn't work, well, we're on to the next one. Let's go after some other people. They don't go back and hold your hand and clean up your credit for you. But that's because at the end of the day, the FTC and the feds and all that put the law in place to say it's your right as a consumer. So in other words, look, we don't have to, because we know at the end of the day, if you don't like what's on your report, it's your right, it's your job, it's your responsibility. Clean up your credit report, right? So going through your report and understanding it's not about figuring out who should I pay sometimes. It's about make sure the information on your report's valid first, verify it, then take those next steps. And that's what we will be talking about here on the show. But I just want to give people, and we want to talk about just the understanding, just a simplistic breakdown of two different types of collection situations. Because when people hear the word collection, they just throw everything under one type of file, one type of collection, and it's not. There's two major differences in the collection world. You got the wholesale, representing type atmosphere or type situation or collection type company, and then you got the wholesale, which are the ones that actually buy the debt, own the debt, don't have to answer to anybody, and there's a little bit more wiggle room there. But then again, those tend to be a little bit older debts because, like you said earlier, the company has given up on the third-party type feel. They wrote the debt off a while ago, actually, but they actually now sold the actual account and information to a third-party system in the situation. That's what we're going to be talking about after the break here. We're against the break. We're going to go into, after the break, collections and going into that wholesale and knowing what can be done. And then we're going to start mixing in a little bit of what should be done. And I know that our topics here aren't exciting to a point, but it's all about being proactive. It's all about taking this information and using it to say, knowledge is power.
Exactly.
And don't be nervous about it. Take action on it. Take your information and say, I'm done with this. I'm done hiding behind it. I'm done living in a certain way. That don't settle. That's my biggest piece of this stuff is don't take your credit and think it is what it is, and this is the way my life is, and hey, it'll fix itself. No, it won't. Trust me. The only person that can fix this is yourself. And how proactive are you on wanting to save money and wanting to take these debts and proactively turn them around in a positive way to get your credit back on track so you're able to get things. It's springtime. I know it doesn't look too fun out there.
At least the weather's warmer.
Yeah, it's a little gray, it's a little cloudy, but it is. It truly is spring the last week, and people are active as heck. I mean, we saw the phone lines jump through the roof this week when it comes to how proactive some people are now, and the affiliates and loan officers getting applications. So it's just hearing this information and taking it for what it is, and knowing that, look, it's not the end of the world. There's steps. There's things that can be done. There's options for you. That's what we're here for. That's what United Credit Consultants for.
That's the most important piece. There's options.
It's knowledge. It's knowing that there's things that can be done, and that's what we're here for. United Credit Consultants, give us a call directly if you have a question about it. You want to talk about it today. You want to go through some information with one of our client coordinators or credit advisors. Our office is open right now. We're directly 800-455-4100. 800-455-4100. We're conveniently located in the Twin Cities, Burnsville area. We are against the break, like I mentioned, though. This is the weekly credit report, Twin Cities News Talk, AM 1130. We'll be right back. Welcome back. You're listening to the weekly credit report, Twin Cities News Talk, AM 1130. I'm your host, Joe McGlynn. This is your source of credit topics, credit repair, restoration, education, and all things credit related, and all things credit topics really on the weekly credit report. We're here every Saturday, Twin Cities News Talk, 8 to 9 a.m. Always taking your calls too. We're always live. Hotline number is 651-989-5855. This show here in this segment's brought to you by, obviously, United Credit Consultants, Minnesota's largest, most preferred credit repair, credit restoration company, and is proudly endorsed by Glenn Beck himself. Let us get your credit repair and credit report back on track. UCC has proven investigation challenge tactics to remove and delete unverifiable, inaccurate accounts off your credit report in as little as 30 days. If you have collections, late payments, public records, if you're going through a hardship of any kind, divorce, short sale, foreclosure, loss of job, let us help you. Let us get your credit back on track. Let us minimize the impact of some of those things. And that's another thing I could talk about is understanding that don't wait till it ends. It's almost like getting yourself proactive for the storm to come. Mm-hmm. There's many things that can be done on your credit that can avoid or buffer the blow of any given negative hardship. Give us a call. We'd love to help. any harassing calls. If there's about 99% of the information that any collection company says to you over the phone is illegal. Okay, they cannot harass you in any way. They can't call you at work. If you tell them one time, do not call me at work, they cannot give and indulge information to anyone other than yourself at work. And so, I mean, there's a lot of things that they can't be doing, which many of them do. Give us a call. We'll help you with that. We can push over some POAs, power of attorney information over to them. If you've been turned down for credit for any reason in the past 12 months, there's something going on. I mean, don't let it take control of your financial situation. Don't waste 20 grand of your savings on a vehicle because you can't go get a car loan. Let us help you with that. Let us save you money. Let us guide you through the process. Do not make decisions based on emotion. Make your decisions on understanding and reason and the math and the system behind the FICO's formula, the scoring system, the equations. If you've been turned down for 12 months, that should be a massive red flag saying, okay, something's going on. Okay.
You should tell them they need to call us right now.
I mean, that's really, it honestly is. It's what's going on. You know, there's obviously, especially during the holidays, springtime, people are looking to buy houses and cars. Give us a call. We'd love to help. And even if you haven't been turned down and you know there's some issues, prior to going to get turned down and getting emotionally upset about it, give us a call. Consultation's free. Sitting down with Ryan, Jared, Brian, any of the advisors is 100% free. Doesn't hurt to at least get a feel for, hey, what's going on with credit? Because the thing is, credit is just like your health. It never ends. It never stops breathing. Every day you're better or worse. Make sure that you're making these steps, you're taking steps correctly, and you're making decisions correctly based on improving the score and the formula based off of the system. And that's why we all here are FICO certified. We are licensed, certified with FICO in their scoring system. So when you're talking to us, we don't make decisions on opinion. We make decisions based on the formula behind FICO and the systematic approach on that.
The facts.
Yeah, the facts, 100%. UCC, obviously, like I just mentioned, has free consultations, free credit education booklets, free rebuilding tools, and obviously there's much, much more. Come speak to one of our trained advisors today, 800-455-4100, 800-455-4100. Like I mentioned, that is our main line. We are in the Twin Cities area. We sit down personally, one-on-one with every one of our advisors. We are not attorneys. We're not going to sit there and charge you $5,000. We are pretty laid back. We're not going to sit there and judge you. We pull your credit for free right in front of you. We'll be able to get that, break it down, really give you some knowledge, understanding on your credit. It's one of the most personal, but yet one of the most laid-back meetings that you'll ever have. Most people don't want to talk about credit, like they don't want to go to the dentist or their CPA or their tax guy because it's negative. Don't look at it negative. Look at it. The negative part was the storm. Negative part was missing payments or having collections. Take this information and be thankful that it's out there, that I'm glad we have a one-stop shop out there that's in the Twin Cities area, that you're able to sit down and speak with one of these guys. You know, that's how you got to look at it. Positive thinking, positive taking this information. It's spring. Let's move forward. Let's clean this stuff up. That's how I feel. You can also go, if you're driving or you can't write that number down, like I mentioned, though, we do have advisors and coordinators in the office right now, truly, that are sitting by the phone waiting for your call. I know that I can see through my cell phone here how many calls we're getting. We're getting calls for sure.
Yep. I mean, even if they want to call, they can come and sit down with us here today.
Yeah. I know you're busy. I got the my wife. I want to give a shout out there. We have our baby shower for our newest and greatest son here. So a little busy for me, but for you guys, I know you guys will be in the office all day. So yeah, you want to talk to one of these guys here, give them a call. We're in Burnsville, 800-455-4100. Or if you want to jump on our website, look at the sexy little picture of Glenn back there staring you in the face. Our information's right there. UnitedCreditConsultants.com. That's United Credit Consultants with an S.com. And that's where you can contact us. There's a contact us page there. You fill out the information.
Great information and education.
And then Jared will jump on you and he'll give you a call right then and there. Let's go back to what's going on and what we're talking about today. Today's topic, we're obviously talking about collections, third-party collections, and the life of a collection, the life of a debt, really. And we talked a lot in the first half there about third parties. Now we're going to talk about the wholesale. Wholesales are much easier. Ryan, go through that if you could, and understanding when this debt now goes into when it's written off, it's been written off, and the company is just sick of it being back and forth with a third party 4 or 5 times. They're going to sell it to an actual collection company now and go through the little bit of the detailed differences of a third party and a wholesale collection company, and just understanding what can be done at that point. With the explanation of, there's a little more freedom. There's a little bit more. There's not as much. There's going
to be more negotiating room for sure on the consumer
100%,
end.
Yeah, and there is no contract really. There's no 80% deal. Now it's more of just understanding that they own the debt. So you might just have someone on the phone that's just a hard-nosed negotiation person, that kind of thing.
And if you listen to the first part of the show, we got into detail about that, how that process gets started out, and the first person, that wholesaler, why they hold on, and their rules and their regulations on why they are so strict on because they're still dealing with the original debtor or the original creditor. And Jared did a great job of explaining that. And as Joe was explaining, like, this is where it's at now, and Jared is probably one of the best people I've ever seen at negotiating these debts. He's our debt settlement specialist, and he's great at getting those things settled. Mm-hmm. But that's why this is at the point. This is where the original creditor has recognized, like, listen, we're not trying to get blood from a turnip here. We've actually literally written this off. That's how it shows up and gets reported on the bureaus. And now it's to the person where it is an official collection, and now there's a little bit more wiggle room.
Yeah.